guys, this is Lala Legacy, and welcome back to another episode of SeaBed. So, let's just jump right back in. Our vacation is unusually long this year, isn't it? I continued tapping away on the keyboard. We should take another trip together. Oh wait, no, whoops. We should take another trip together. I'd prefer a place that's warm this time of the year. What about the Mediterranean Sea? I missed my chance to swim in it last time. I've heard you can't swim in it past October. Then we should go to that tropical island again. As I recalled that starlit tropical sky in my mind's eye, another voice from up close interrupted my thoughts. Miss Sachiko. What? I was startled, but didn't jump and instead continued with faked calmness. Is something the matter? You seem to be talking to yourself there. It's nothing. Pay it no mind. Okay then. She brought me some tea. Thanks. If you don't have anything else for me, I'll leave by 7 tonight. Alright, go ahead. Fumi returned the tea tray, to the kitchen and focused on her work. Would you like to have dinner together? Fumi addressed me. Sounds lovely, but I can't. There's something I need to finish. I see. Let's go some other time. Sure thing. The office at 7 like she had said, and after killing some time so we wouldn't run into each other, I followed suit. Yeah, and I'm sorry that my stuff is lagging. I'm trying to do a clean of my computer, and I was woken up at like 4 something this morning, and it's like almost 5:30 now, and I'm recording, which is also another reason why my voice is the way it is right now. 2 days later, I ended up finishing my work early, so I told Fumi and the others that I had a little errand to run and went straight to the clinic. Upon telling Nagasaki about it, she asked me if everything was okay with work, adding that it must be a hassle to jump through all those hoops. I can't exactly tell everyone that I'm leaving early because I suspect I'm going mad and need to have my head checked. Well, I understand your circumstances. It's pretty common in this field. I'd also prefer to keep this from my regular clients. Have I not told you before? That's why I wanted to discuss this with you in private. Really? I looked at Nagasaki's desk. It had a bundle of medical records on it. Beyond that, on the wall, I spotted a green board with some memos, a couple of landscape pictures, and a small calendar pinned to it. The calendar had a picture of a turbulent-looking sea on it. It seemed dangerous to swim in. The entire scenery was dominated by the color blue. Even the cliffs in the distance seemed somewhat affected, resembling massive icebergs. The days below the picture were circled. They had all sorts of errands and what were most likely appointments written around them. Did you find something interesting? Nagasaki addressed me while jotting something down on to my medical record. Yeah. I was wondering, how long have you been working here? I'm approaching my 3rd year as a practicing physician. Before that, I worked at a different clinic. I considered her white coat, trying to imagine her usual day here. Which one of your past patients left the biggest impression on you? Or impression? Nagasaki seemed to freeze for a moment. She then answered that there were many, seemingly trying to avoid the subject. Realizing that it was probably a thoughtless question, I decided not to prod it further. I shifted my gaze from Nagasaki and looked around the consultation room. All kinds of bottles with English labels lined the medicine shelf, neatly locked behind its glass door. As I absent-mindedly gazed at the graded beaker, I realized that it went out of focus, with all the little blue lines on it blurring together. I rubbed my right eye. You seem tired. I pulled a late shift yesterday. I returned my gaze to Nagasaki. She slightly turned her chair toward me. Are you getting enough sleep lately? Work's a bit frantic these days. I'm handling twice my usual workload. That's not good. I know. The brunt of the work is already finished. All that's left is to organize everything. So you're saying the worst part is already over? Yes. Well, be careful. A vacation does little good if you only end up ruining your health through overworking. I know that. Do you have any plans to go somewhere? Not really. I see. Nagasaki took a breath and spun her pen around the thumb of her right hand. I felt as though I heard a cat meowing in the distance. I strained my ears only to hear another clear meow from the direction of the small window. I imagine it's walking along the fence behind the building. I see them there sometimes. Nagasaki fell silent as I stared at the window. We remained completely silent, but no other meows followed. The window itself was similar to the kind that tends to be in bathrooms. When I thought about it, this room suddenly started feeling very small. You usually have people in this room that tend to say some off-kilter things, right? Right! Nagasaki looked behind her, allowing her gaze to travel across the entire room before it finally stopped on me again. It's pretty small, isn't it? Lately, I've heard how other doctors try to make their consultation rooms look as spacious as possible and use brightly colored wallpapers to lessen the stress of the patients. It doesn't seem like you're doing that. I don't have the funds. Besides, this place is small, but it feels kinda isolated from the rest of the building, right? I feel it might help some patients to relax and talk instead. I think I like it this way too. Glad to hear that. Nagasaki made a satisfied smile. Did you take those pictures? No, I just stuck on a bunch of photos I liked. That's the Blue Grotto. Oh? I didn't even know that. You seem well informed. I've been to it. We went to all sorts of places with Takako. Such as? That seemed to pique Nagasaki's interest. Yeah, again, sorry for the game and whatnot being really slow. It felt more like I was chatting with a friend at a cafe rather than having an actual medical examination or anything of the sort. Nagasaki kept asking questions about my past, from my club activities at school to all the trips I had over the years. I told her everything I could remember, trying to be as brief and on point as possible. Nagasaki wrote everything down, her white coat swaying as her hand danced across the pages of the white paper. She would also jot down some notes to my medical record once in a while. When I told Nagasaki about how Takako found a printing error on a winning candy stick and the woman selling them had to fix it with a marker, she once again added a note to my medical record. After heaving a brief sigh, I took a sip of coffee to have a break from all the talking. Any new problems since our last appointment? I told her about how I saw Takako at the office after discussing vacation plans with Fumi. Nagasaki wrote something down in my medical record again. Squeezed under it, I saw a medical examination paper with all sorts of numbers printed out on it. It looked like it could have been my blood test. Aren't those the results of my previous examination? Nagasaki followed my gaze, and, spotting the paper, gave me a nod. Did you find anything out? I wanted to know if she had come closer to elucidating the cause. Of course I did. Nagasaki pulled the paper out and placed it on top of the medical record. For starters, it doesn't seem like your condition is physical, she explained, tracing the top line of the results with her finger. According to our test results, your physical health is in perfect order. All your blood values are normal, and we found no drugs in your system. According to the written test you took, it doesn't seem like your intellect is impaired in any way either. And finally, from your reactions to my questions, during our conversations, I'd say schizophrenia can also be safely ruled out. Then, what is causing this? It's most likely something psychogenic. I'd guess something along the lines of a strong mental trauma or chronic stress. Or perhaps both, she added. I tried to consider both possibilities. I was busy with work, but I didn't have any severe problems. If anything, my company was on the rise. My personal life had grown quite lovely without Takako, but it wasn't to the extent that I lost sleep thinking about it. I also couldn't think of any particularly stressful or shocking situations I might have been exposed to, not in my private life, and not at work either. Any ideas? Narasaki asked. I kept thinking for a few more moments, then answered in the negative. Narasaki nodded and leaned against her chair. Is something the matter? I imagine it's most likely that you've forgotten the cause. I'm not trying to sound like I know everything about you, but from what you've told me so far, I can't think of a more likely cause than Takako's disappearance. Besides, you told me you couldn't recall the details surrounding it. So, both the ringing in my ears and hallucinations are caused by that? I'm not sure about the ringing, but it would be natural to assume that your hallucinations of Takako are. I've already thought of that possibility. Takako's disappearance left a deep wound in my heart, and I was chronically exhausted from trying to manage my life and work without her. But I never faced that pain. Instead, I made up another Takako in my mind to distract myself from it. It seems like you were thinking something along those lines yourself. Indeed I was. It was natural for her to assume the same. Still, I wasn't sure why, but I felt that something was off about that train of thought. As I fell silent, Narasaki parted her lips and uttered the brief phrase, "Everything has a reason or a cause," seemingly muttering to herself. Cause: Takako's disappearance, symptoms, hallucinations, and memory loss. I glanced at the medical record in Narasaki's hands. It had a cause and symptoms written down on some sort of diagram-looking thing. You still can't remember anything about how she disappeared? No. To tell the truth, I've tried investigating reports about people who disappeared abroad over the past 2 years, but I couldn't find... To tell the truth, I've tried investigating reports about people who disappeared abroad over the past 2 years, but I couldn't find a single article on your friend. You mean she hasn't disappeared? I don't know. Maybe there was simply no article written. Narasaki paused. I tried remembering my last trip with Takako, but my memories remained shrouded by a thick fog. Wait, did Takako break up with Sachiko while they were overseas, and that's why she's having all the problems that she is now? That could be the traumatic experience. I could try bringing those memories up or to the surface through hypnotherapy. Hypnotherapy? You mean hypnosis, like with the swaying coin and everything? Yeah. I could use a coin if you insist. Narasaki pulled one of her drawers open and picked up a 5-yen coin from all the change scattered on the pen tray inside it. You can do that? The effectiveness varies drastically from person to person, but I've done hypnotherapy before. If Takako's disappearance really is the cause of your hallucinations, we might get a hint that could help with your recovery, provided you remember how it all happened. As I stared at the sizable coin on the desk, Narasaki placed her hand on it. But first, I'd like to confirm that you actually want to get rid of the hallucinations. As I gave Narasaki a puzzled look, she explained that my symptoms were slightly different from all the other patients she had dealt with. But that is all the time that I have for this episode, guys, so if you liked it, please give it a big thumbs up down below. Also comment down below, too.